Hey, in this video, we're going to be talking about Florida's situation with Graham Mertz. Graham Mertz was a relatively, I say, highly scouted quarterback when he was coming out of Mission, Kansas in 2018, but he enrolled at Wisconsin in 2019 for the 2019 class. And he started in a couple of games for the Wisconsin Badgers, but then was redshirt. Well, actually, no, he didn't start in a couple of games. He played in a couple of games, but he didn't start. Then he was redshirted. Um, then the next year you had COVID, and he started about 7 games there. And then he started a lot of games for Wisconsin over the next couple of years. And during his time in Wisconsin, he accumulated uh, just above 5,400 passing yards, was barely above 59% completion percentage, had threw 38 touchdowns and 26 interceptions. And quite frankly, Wisconsin's offense was mediocre. Now, a lot of college football pundits have said that Wisconsin's offensive philosophy was retro and it was behind the curve in college football, so to speak. Like modern college football hadn't moved from Wisconsin style of offense, and there could be some truth to that. But at the end of the day, Graham Mertz is on the field, and it's his job to make the offense perform better. And at Wisconsin, they were more known for running the ball and playing defense than they were um, for their passing attack. And after his year in Wisconsin, he decided to enter the transfer portal and go elsewhere. And Billy Napier and the Florida Gators decided to offer him a spot on the team, which he accepted. Now he has 2 years left of eligibility in college football because he redshirted, and then he had the COVID season. The very next season, the very next year was COVID, so the NCAA granted an extra year eligibility for players during this time. Um, and that leaves him with 2 years of eligibility. And Florida is kind of in a really peculiar spot with Mertz. And of course, a lot of that is going to depend on how he plays this year. But if you think about it, Florida and Graham Mertz might need each other more than both sides would probably know at the moment. Um, pretty sure. I'm just assuming. I don't know Graham Mertz. But I'm assuming he would have a dream of heading into the NFL. And Florida right now, they have a star high school recruit prospect in DJ Lagway, who's committed to Florida right now, and it seems like he's going to be committed with Florida through signing day because he committed with Florida in December of last year, and even though he's gone to other campuses, he has been truly committed to Florida, even recruiting other prospects to commit to Florida as well. And while that's all well and good, you still, even if Lagway does decide to sign with Florida for the 2024 season, you don't want to start a true freshman the very next year anyway, especially with the schedule that Florida is going to have in 2024. So in this spot, you can't, if you're a Florida fan, even though you hate to admit it, and myself included, you kind of hope that Graham Mertz comes back for um, next season. And I think it benefits both sides because you'll have Graham Mertz who's coming back to the offense, who at the very least he'll know the offense as opposed to Lagway who doesn't, and he can help tutor Lagway and allow Lagway to sit back and prepare and not feel like you have to be rushed as a true freshman quarterback to start. And for Graham Mertz, if he can play just a little bit better at Florida this year and next year, provided he chooses to stay, it would possibly help his draft stock. Because I'll be dead honest, but the way he performed at Wisconsin, I don't know if teams would spend higher than a fifth round pick on Graham Mertz, to be honest, and even that might be a stretch. He just did not play well at Madison, Wisconsin for the Badgers. But if he can turn it around and have a couple of decent years at Florida under Billy Napier, I think it would help his stock, just like the way it did playing a couple of years at Tennessee helped out for Hendon Hooker. Remember, Hendon Hooker originally was enrolled at Virginia Tech, transferred over to Tennessee, and he um, played 2 good years at Tennessee, was projected to be a Heisman candidate until he was hurt, and he built himself up into being a third round pick for the Detroit Lions, even though he tore his ACL in against South Carolina. And Detroit still thought highly enough of his play and his talent to take him as a third round pick. So that's kind of like this what you're hoping for with Mertz to at least play some good years at Florida to elevate your draft stock And for Florida, you want him to come back next year so that way you can have a guy who knows the offense, who started in the offense last year, and allow Lagway to ease his way in. Because Lagway, provided he stays at Florida, will get an opportunity to play on the field at Florida, I believe. But you kind of want him to be well prepared instead of having to rush him and throw him into the mix all so soon. So sorry about that. I'm having a little trouble with my headset if you hear that. But those are the reasons why, if you're a Florida fan, you may want to have to make a case for Graham Mertz at Florida to stay next year after this current season is up. And right now, I'm just gonna play some highlights for Florida fans to see, what they could possibly look for in having Graham Mertz as their quarterback for maybe the next 2 years. So right here, 3rd and 6, he takes the snap, shotgun formation, throws it over a defender, hits a receiver coming across the middle in stride. I know it's against Illinois State, but it's still a respectable throw nonetheless. Here he is again. I'm not going to play the whole video, but here he is again. Receiver wide open, hits him in stride, went through his progressions and looked for him and found him. Here he is standing in the pocket, uh, throws a nice lob pass over a couple of defenders to the open receiver. So here's the thing about Mertz. He has something that Anthony Richardson doesn't have, and he has your basic quarterback mechanics. Anthony Richardson, if you watch a lot of his overthrows and his wild throws when he was at Florida, a lot of it he was because he didn't have his feet set. And Robert Griffin III talked about it. And Robert Griffin III may not have been a great NFL quarterback, but in college football, the man won a Heisman. So he at the very least knows how college quarterbacks should play. And right here, you see Graham Mertz. Okay, takes his drop back steps, plants his feet, boom, throws it. You didn't see a lot of that from Anthony Richardson, and when you did, he would make the good throws. Like a play action pass that he threw on the opening drive of his Florida's game against LSU last season. That's the reason why he was able to hit Justin Shorter in stride, was because he played to his played the basic quarterback mechanics. Here, Mertz does know how to do that at least. And another thing is that while Graham Mertz doesn't have Anthony Richardson's athleticism and arm strength, I think with Graham Mertz, it's more so his decision making more than it is his accuracy. Because I actually, from watching clips of how he played at Wisconsin, besides this current video, he's not an overly inaccurate quarterback. Anthony Richardson had a great arm, but because of that, see, that's what I'm talking about. See, the accuracy of Mertz here on this play, the throw that he makes to the tight end, here he is under the center, takes his drop back steps, plants his feet, throws it, then put a lot of air on it, but gets it just over the defender and his tight end, where only his tight end could catch it, in stride to get the touchdown. And that is a lot of things Anthony Richardson struggled with. Anthony Richardson was known for his highlight plays, but basic throws like this, he struggled with. And Anthony Richardson had a hard time with that. Graham Mertz at least shows you the ability that he can do that he can at least do this. There he is, fits a nice ball in between two defenders. You didn't see too much of this from Anthony Richardson during his time at Florida, even though he only had 1 year to prepare. I think this is kind of the reason why what Billy Napier saw in Graham Mertz to take the chance on him. Was like, you know what? Maybe there's something, if we could just work with this guy in terms of the decision making and put him in a more modern college football offense instead of what Wisconsin had, then maybe we can get the best out of him. So I'm going to show you this play again. Shotgun formation, takes his drop back steps, throws it, catches the receiver, tight window, just before the receiver can run out of bounds, right where his receiver can get it and that the defender can't touch it. Those are the examples of what Graham Mertz can do for the Florida offense that Anthony Richardson couldn't, even though he's not going to bring Anthony Richardson's athleticism, obviously, and you're not going to get those big play runs out of Graham Mertz that you got from AR. And you know what? That you got to have a little give and take. So here he is, steps back, throws it to the receiver, gets him stride, touchdown, Wisconsin Badgers. So those are just little nuances that Graham Mertz has that can maybe help Florida's offense improve in their passing game for this upcoming year. And another thing that helps out Graham Mertz is that I think he's going to have more weapons in terms of offensive playmakers at Florida than he does at Wisconsin. Wisconsin doesn't really produce a lot of great receivers. They're not known for the receivers. They're known for their linebackers. They're known for their running backs. They're known for their offensive linemen, but they're not known for your pass catchers. At Florida, he'll have a couple of good running backs in Montrell Johnson and Trevor Etienne, but he also has another receiver coming back from last year in Ricky Pearsall, who was by far Florida's best receiver last year. He was a transfer over from Arizona State. He knows the offense. He can help Graham Mertz. I'm pretty sure he's helped Graham Mertz translate the offense and learn it and develop it. Same thing with Trevor Etienne and Montrell Johnson. They know the offense. They know what to expect. They're not gonna have the same offensive line as they did last year. But I don't think Florida's offensive line will be flat out bad like a lot of people are saying it's going to be heading into this year. Um, I I do trust that having two assistant offensive line coaches that Billy Napier has on his staff will help the offensive line progress and develop faster than normal into as opposed to having one offensive line coach. So those are the reasons why I think if you were to make a case for Graham Mertz, that would be it because I think it would help Florida in terms of helping them train and develop DJ Lackway. And I think maybe another year at Florida could help Graham Mertz in his possible draft stock if he is looking to enter the NFL, but which I would assume, but that would also depend upon his play this year on the field, and are his teammates gonna rally around him? Having good quarterback play can boost the morale of the entire team, and that's just my take on Graham Mertz. Um, I'm not sure, I'm not sure if he's gonna prove me right or prove me wrong this upcoming season, but that's why the games are played, and guess we'll have to see for ourselves. But that's just my take.